Eclipse. Abusheni, Dumelang, Sanpanani, and hello, my name is Dineo H. If it's your first time seeing me or you're part of the DH fam, welcome, and thank you for tuning in. As you saw by the title of today's video, we are doing something that is so close to my heart. We are unpacking anxiety and the history of anxiety, and I want to tell you guys how I tackled it. And if you really want to learn more about anxiety, you are in the right place. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. But before we get right into the video, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get right into it. So guys, I have been planning this video for ages. I mean, like ages, for real. So I have my phone full of notes and information, and don't mind me when I keep looking down, because I definitely want to say everything that I have noted in my phone. As a global citizen, I saw it very fitting for me to play a part in tackling mental disorders, or you can say illnesses, because it's so hard, and I feel like it's a topic that we have to keep speaking about, and that's what we're going to do on this channel. I'm very passionate about mental health, and I just want to share my story, and I believe sharing my story will help someone out there. It is possible for you to tackle anxiety, because if you see me here today speaking about anxiety, advocating for mental health, you should really believe that it is actually possible. You should believe. You have no reason to not believe. So now we're going to define anxiety. What is anxiety? Anxiety is a feeling of uneasiness and worry, usually generalized and unfocused, as an overreaction to a situation that is only subjectively seen as menacing. It is often accompanied by nervous behavior such as pacing back and forth, somatic complaints, and rumination. So now we're moving to the types of anxiety. I'm not really going to get deep into the types of anxiety, because the types of anxiety are similar to the types of anxiety disorders. I hope you understand. So the first one is existential anxiety, and there's also mathematical anxiety. It's the anxiety you have when you have to count like money or something, like your mind dies, I guess. Yeah, so, and there's also some somatic anxiety and stage fright. Did you know that stage fright is another type of anxiety? So if you didn't know, now you know. Now you know. Don't take it light. It is an anxiety. The next one is test anxiety and social anxiety. Short and long-term anxiety. Anxiety can be either short-term state. So when it's short-term, it's called state, and when it's long-term, it's called trait. Trait anxiety represents worrying about future events. So now we are going to get a little bit deep into explaining the difference between fear and anxiety, because a lot of people confuse fear with anxiety and anxiety with fear. Just listen to this. Fear is short-lived, present-focused, geared towards a specific threat, and facilitating escape from threat. On the other hand, anxiety is long-acting, future-focused, broadly focused towards a diffuse threat, and promoting excessive caution while approaching a potential threat, and interferes with constructive coping. I hope you now understand the difference between fear and anxiety. What is an anxiety disorder? Anxiety disorders are a class of mental disorders characterized by a significant and uncontrollable feelings of anxiety and fear, such that a person's social, occupational, and personal function are significantly impaired. Anxiety may cause physical and cognitive symptoms like restlessness, irritability, easy fatigability, difficulty concentrating, increased heart rate, chest pain, abdominal pain, and a variety of other symptoms that may vary based on the individual. The types of anxiety. The first one is generalized anxiety disorder, and that is excessive worry and sweating. So, when you sweat a lot and you are constantly worried, it could be a disorder, and that could be a generalized anxiety disorder. It's more similar to anxiety, but it's a disorder. And how do we differentiate an anxiety disorder from anxiety? I will let you know, guys, after I'm done giving you guys the types of anxiety, right? And this anxiety disorder, called specific phobia social anxiety disorder, is an anxiety disorder characterized by sentiments of fear and anxiety in social situation, causing considerable stress and impaired ability to function in at least some aspects of daily life. These fears can be triggered by perceived or actual scrutiny from others. Individuals with social anxiety disorder fear negative evaluation from other people, and that is specific phobia social anxiety disorder. And we're moving to separation anxiety. I feel like I kind of relate to separation anxiety a lot. So separation anxiety is defined as an excessive fear of being separated from a person or anything. So I remember when I was a little girl back in primary school, my mom used to leave a lot. Like, she was not someone you would find at home. And I really loved, coming back from school and finding her home. But that didn't happen most of the time. And that turned into, I guess, separation anxiety, because I was so stressed and so fearful that she would leave. Every time, maybe like on Fridays, she left on Fridays most of the time. And every Friday, like, I would not even focus at school. I would get so stressed a lot because she would leave a lot, and I was so fearful that every she would leave. Like, Fridays were not like Fridays were worst days for me, and it should be like a good day, because now it's after Friday's the weekend, going to school and all that. But I used to be so stressed and fearful that she would leave. Like, I was so fearful of that. And my fear would be real sometimes. I would be stressed that she would leave, and when I get home, I wouldn't really find her. That caused me to not focus at school sometimes. I would think about her a lot. A lot of people have separation anxiety. Maybe you're fearful for your man to leave, maybe for the weekend, or like someone you love would leave you, maybe die or just leave. So that is separation anxiety. I truly relate to separation anxiety, because I still fear my mom leaving. Like, I still fear, like, she's so good. She's so good, and I love her so much. And every time she leaves, I'm just like, why are you leaving? Panic disorder is a mental and behavioral disorder, specifically an anxiety disorder characterized by reoccurring unexpected panic attack. Oh my god, I've never heard an unexpected panic attack. Panic attacks are sudden periods of intense fear that may include palpitation, sweating, shaking, shortness of breath, numbness, or a feeling that something terrible is about to happen. The maximum degree of symptoms occurs within minutes. There may be ongoing worries about having further attacks and avoidance of places where attacks have occurred in the past. And that is a panic anxiety disorder. We're moving to selective mutism, and it is also an anxiety disorder in which a person who is otherwise capable of speech becomes unable to speak when exposed to specific situation and specific places or to specific people, one or multiple of which serving as triggers. This is caused by the freeze response. Selective mutism usually coexists with social anxiety disorder. People with selective mutism stay silent even when the consequences of their silence include shame or punishment. Now listen, anxiety disorders are caused by a complex combination of genetic and environmental factors. To be diagnosed, symptoms typically need to be present for at least 6 months, be more than would be expected for the situation, and decrease a person's ability to function in their lives. And that ushers us to the next topic, and that is the difference between anxiety disorders and anxiety. There's anxiety and there's also anxiety disorders. It's not the same. The difference between anxiety disorder and anxiety disorder is a mental disorder, whereas an anxiety is a normal emotion. People with anxiety disorder experience anxiety most of the days during approximately 6 months, like I said, or even during shorter time periods in children. Anxiety disorder are among the most persistent mental problems and often last decades. I hope you now understand the difference between anxiety and anxiety disorder. With anxiety, the symptoms would last for a shorter period, whereas anxiety disorder can last decades, okay? For you to really find out whether you have an anxiety disorder or you have anxiety, you need to go see a professional, okay? Symptoms, effects, causes, and treatment of anxiety and anxiety disorder are the same. What separates them is that you have to keep in mind that anxiety is a normal emotion, whereas anxiety disorder is a mental disorder. So with mental disorder, you need to go to see a professional, like it's serious. That's what separates them. So I'm definitely going to give you guys the symptoms because we are in the 4th segment of the video. And we're going to start with, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I defined anxiety, I also gave you the symptoms, right? And that is, to repeat, restlessness, irritability, indefatigability, difficulty concentrating, increased heart rate, chest pain, abdominal pain, and variety of other symptoms that may vary based on the individual. And other symptoms are excessive stress, panic attacks, and also symptoms of anxiety can range in number, intensity, and frequency depending on the person. These effects are divided into three categories: behavioral effects, emotional effects, and cognitive effects. Right now, I'm going to tell you guys about the behavioral effect. Your behavior changes completely, and the behavioral effects may include withdrawal from situations which have provoked anxiety or negative feelings in the past. If you were someone who slept around 10 o'clock and slept the entire night, that can drastically change. You can either sleep for 3 hours, less or more, and you might even not sleep at all. And also your habits change, either good habits and or bad habits, which is, I think, for bad habits is good, because when your bad habits change, like you become good, you get what I'm saying. And increase or decrease in food intake. With this one is very tricky, because when you don't eat, you will lose weight and people will judge you, and you'll become sad. You might even not love your new body or how you look. And it also applies to increase in food intake, because the more you eat, you're going to gain weight, or you might gain weight, and you might also not like how you look. And that causes more problems. It causes stress, it causes a lot of problems. So it's very tricky. Anxiety and anxiety disorders are very atrocious. You get what I'm saying? Very, very atrocious. Emotional effects: trouble concentrating. You literally can't concentrate, or you might have a hard time concentrating, which is like feeling tense or jumpy. You feel very tense and jumpy, and you're always anticipating the worst. You are irritated. I think one of the worst feeling one could feel is feeling irritated. Like, I hate feeling irritated. It is the worst feeling ever. I want to exchange irritability with any other feeling, to be quite honest, because there's no feeling that can top feeling irritated. You become restless as well. You watch and wait for signs or occurrences of danger. You feel like your mind is going blank or has gone blank, and you have nightmares. Just imagine you're not sleeping, your sleeping pattern changes, or you can't concentrate, and you have nightmares. I think it's a nightmare on its own. And you also feel like everything is scary, which is so ghetto, because I cannot imagine feeling like everything is scary. I personally have not felt like that's really no. And you also feel helpless. And now we're moving to cognitive effects. I didn't really get a lot on cognitive effects, because I feel like we kind of like understand the effects now. We understand the cognitive effects are you fear dying. Like, you may fear that the chest pains are a deadly heart attack, or that the shooting pains in your head are a result of tumor or aneurysm. You feel an intense fear when you think of dying, or you may think of it more often than normal, or it can't get out of your mind. The first cause is stress, and followed by genetics and substance abuse. With substance abuse, I feel like it is avoidable, because such as alcohol and drugs and whatever is a temptation. I feel like we can try and avoid substance abuse, because a lot of us feel like drinking or smoking or taking drugs will make things better. But do you know you're actually making things worse? So today you know that substance abuse is another cause of anxiety or anxiety disorder. We're moving to several drugs can cause or worsen anxiety, whether in intoxication, withdrawal, or side effects. These include alcohol, tobacco, sedatives, opioids, and including prescription like painkillers and illicit drugs and stimulants. Another cause is poor coping skills. So I always try to know and to read books on how to cope or educate myself in how to cope, because it is very important to know how to cope, especially in times like this. We're living in hard times, and if you know how to cope, you are wealthy. Okay, if you know 100% how to cope, you are wealthy, period. And another cause is negative thoughts, unhealthy thoughts, an unconscious mind. And in negative thoughts, I definitely have negative thoughts a lot of times, but I always give my negative thoughts language. Like when my thoughts are saying to me, "You're ugly," I'm like, have you seen me? Have you seen? I don't mind arguing with my mind. Mina, I just don't mind. I don't mind arguing with my mind. I will argue. I will give my mind language, because once you ignore your mind, once you start ignoring your mind, and your mind is used to that treatment, ignore, I can say whatever I want. You need to know that you are a different person from your mind. I didn't believe it before, but when I listen to what my mind says to me sometimes, I'm like, I can never be this girl. I can never be this girl. Learn to separate yourself from your mind. Give your mind language. When your mind tells you, you're ugly, your body is like, it's not giving, you need a BBL. Not shading BBL girls. I love them. I love BBL. But when your mind tells you something negative, that's what I'm trying to say. When your mind tells you something negative, give it language. Tell your mind, unamanga, you're lying. I'm beautiful. I'm confident. You're not. And one would be like, what do you mean? Like, you're the same. What do you mean? But you need to know, I know a lot of people have experienced negative thoughts and negative mindset. You need to give your mind language and disagree sometimes. You get what I'm saying? And another one is unconscious mind. I'm reading this book by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle. I'll definitely put it. This is the book I'm reading here. This book is so good. Like it really tells you. It literally it's like it's giving you a class about your mind, and I love it very much. I've been reading it, and since then I've known better. That's why I can tell you today that learn to separate yourself from your mind. Please read the book, and you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. And if you done, and the book is free, you can download it. If you want a hard copy, you can buy it. Not sure where, but I know that I downloaded the book for free, and downloaded it here. And hopefully I will leave the link on the description box for you to download. If not, I downloaded it at PDF drive. There are free books. You can definitely go and search for free books. You literally don't need an amount of money. You don't need money to have a book. You can download a book for free as long as you have data, right? And then trauma. I feel like I want to get more into trauma. Trauma is the biggest I think it's the biggest cause of anxiety. I definitely think so because I also experienced trauma a few years ago. Trauma, e.g., physical, sexual, or emotional abuse or assault. I feel like trauma is one of the biggest causes, and it is so sad. Like, I believe most of us who experience trauma, it is not our fault, but it is so sad. Like, I don't know how to unpack it, but I definitely want to unpack it. It is very important to acknowledge that that trauma was not your fault. And it is okay if you have anxiety and or anxiety disorder because of trauma. But what I can tell you that it was not your fault, but it is your responsibility to make sure that you heal yourself and you help yourself get out of a dark cloud. Because if you allow yourself to have anxiety because of your trauma, it is because that means that you're allowing yourself to be a victim. So today I want to tell you that I know how it feels like to maybe I didn't go through what you went through and I don't understand, but choose to help yourself, choose to rise up, choose to get back because your strength lies in that. Okay? Yeah, I think I love how I unpacked it. And definitely I'm gonna tell you guys more about what really happened to me. Maybe not a story time, but how I got back up, bounced back. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And another cause is bullying, early life experiences, parenting factors, for an example, rejection, lack of warmth, high hostility, harsh discipline, high parental negative effect or after effect, and anxious childbearing. It's crazy how we grow up impact our lives, impacts how impacts a lot about us. Like, you could literally be who you are because of how you grew up. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. It's really depending on how you really grew up. And it is so sad to see one growing up in a rejection, growing up in a lack of or less warm home or surrounding. It is so sad, but still I will give you the same advice, but that it was not your fault, but it is your responsibility to change who you are. If ever you feel like you really want to change and you don't like who you are, it is your responsibility to help yourself, and it is possible to be who you want to be, because life is what you make it. And what you tell yourself that you are that. So yeah. And another thing that I really wanted to touch on is that I have a little brother, and I use my little brother to, not that I use him, but there's a lot of things that I would want to change about my childhood. I believe a lot of you guys want that as well. I have a little brother, and the things that I wished happened to me when I was a child, or the things that, or how I wish I was raised, I apply those stuff to my little brother. I raise him the way I wish I was raised, because I feel like the way I wanted to be raised is the best thing and is the best way, but at some point it's not, because the way you're raised is your story. But you can be better. You can better your story, you can better someone's story. If there's someone out there, whether your sibling or someone who look up to you, in the world, I think it is your chance to use them for a good cause and change what you feel like was not good in your childhood. It is your responsibility to make whoever is looking up to you to be better and to not be like you, or to just have a better childhood. Because I feel like, if you raise someone like this, or if you do this to a certain person, things will turn out this way. Because I think a lot of people were bullied when they were kids, and still now they're still bearing that pain, they're still bearing that. So if you see someone bullying your brother, take it serious, because you really know how it's gonna go. They might even get worse if you let the situation go. That's me saying that, please do things better. If you do things better, be better, be what you wanted, be what you wanted.